Yes. Hello, people. Welcome all back to the channel. I said this was coming to start the window. I said that you would get my review on this window at the end of the window. I was going to give the guys who come in, Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, all the recruitment staff, I was going to give them the chance to prove, to see what they can do in a first window, and we will go from there. We are now at the end of the window. The window closed last night. Liverpool made a grand total of 2 signings, one of which won't even join the club until next year. The other one, pretty decent signing in Federico Chiesa. We sold a lot. We sold Fabio Carvalho. We sold Sepp van den Berg. We sold Bobby Clark. We got some good sell-on fees for certain players. We made some good loans. Hopefully Stefan Bajcetic can really kick on in Salzburg and restart what was such a promising development path that he was showing at in that season 22-23 before it got fucked over by injury, basically. There's no way of beating around the bush here. Let's not beat around the bush. There's an article as well that was posted by James Pearce today that I am going to be referencing a lot throughout. So I'll try and bring up the relevant quotes and stuff as and when they're needed. But yeah, let's start with the obvious. Liverpool for 3 seasons have needed a defensive midfielder. In 2022, that target was Aurelien Tchouameni. You didn't get him. Real Madrid got him. They beat us in the Champions League final, and 2 days later they took our bitch. But that's okay. That happens. That happens. We still have Fabinho, who for the past season had been pretty solid. Maybe showing up the signs of, legs starting to go a little bit. But it wasn't, DEFCON 5 levels or anything, if you get what I mean. It was a case of you missed out on him, good opportunity goes by, but you move on. The next season goes ahead and we look horrendous. The midfield gets ran through like you wouldn't believe. Henderson looks terrible. Fabinho looks terrible. Milner looks terrible. Who else do we have? Keita didn't even play. Thiago was all right in about 5 games he gave us. And Stefan Bajcetic ended up being... Stefan Bajcetic and Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott ended up being the only bright sparks in a pretty dismal season. So it gets to the next summer, and Liverpool recognise once again, not only they recognise the whole midfield needs to be revamped, but once again the DM is a priority because you miss out on Tchouameni and then you have a really bad season DM wise. It's a real priority. We bring in McAllister, we bring in Szoboszlai. We're one piece away, and the club identify Moises Caicedo as top target, and they identify Romeo Lavia as a backup option. Liverpool get neither. We go for Caicedo, but because we didn't do the due diligence all throughout the summer, Caicedo has his heart set on Chelsea. Then when we go back in for Lavia, tail between our legs, we basically get told, I don't want to be no one's second choice. Fuck yous. I'm going Chelsea. So that makes it 2 seasons in a row failing to get your top target. It's a bit different this time because we are in desperate need of a DM. Fabinho sold. We literally have no one at the club. So Endo was brought in for about 15 million as a stopgap. Then Gravenberch comes in on deadline day. No one really knows what position he's going to play, but yeah, Ryan Gravenberch there as well. Season goes ahead. We look pretty good. We finished third. We win the Carabao Cup. We go a long way in a lot of things. But ultimately, we fall short because of injuries, because of fitness, and realistically because of the lack of a top quality DM, certain games get away from us. But we get to this summer, and everyone and their nan and their granddad can look at this squad and go, we're pretty sound in every position except DM, so let's go and nail a good DM this summer. And Liverpool identify their top target in Martin Zubimendi. And Liverpool once again fail to get their top target. So 3 seasons in a row, 3 seasons where we have failed to secure our top target for the position. Not the greatest luck. Really not the greatest luck for the football club. But it's okay. We'll just do what we done last season. We'll pivot. We'll move on to another target, if you will. We'll move on to another target. And then it comes out that there is no alternate. There is no second choice for that position. It is Zubimendi or no one. And everyone, rightfully so, goes, that's bollocks. Because there is plenty of midfielders on the planet who, are they as good as Martin Zubimendi? We'll never know. Some will say yes, some will say no. Are they better in the position than Wataru Endo? Now, that is a unanimous yes. That is a unanimous yes. So, with that being the case, I'm just trying to log in onto it so I can get the quotes up. There we go. With that being the case, you then wonder, what did the football club do from there? What did the football club do from there? Well, Ryan Gravenberch plays the position, and for the first 2 games of the season, he has been pretty good. I'm not gonna sit there and sort of knock what Ryan Gravenberch has done. But is this something that we can necessarily trust? I don't think so. Now, the belief is, according to this James Pearce article, Liverpool had 2 priority positions at the start of the season, bringing in an attacker and adding a defensive midfielder. Now, for all of you smart people there, you will realise that certain positions have been ignored in that and were not classed as priority positions, most notably centre-back and left-back. I will touch on that later. But the reason why I mention that is you've got your attacker in Chiesa, who wasn't necessarily the guy that you wanted. You wanted Gordon, but you get your attacker in Chiesa, and now you will only bring in Anthony Gordon if one moves on next summer. You have done very fucking well, very well in your attacking building, should we say, over the past couple of years. Bar Nunes, your attack is very well stocked in terms of options. You've got good balance across the attack line. You have done very well in building your attack to what it is today. You have good options all round. So, why the fuck can we not apply the same logic for the 6? Well, as Mr. Pearce mentions in his article, scouts and analysts had done their work in terms of possible number 6 targets last season, but the profile of player Liverpool were looking for changed after Slot took over. So, that to me implies that we had abundance of options for DM, and then Slot came in, and we went, shit, none of these work. Which then makes me think, what sort of DMs were we after? Was Ugarte the kind of DM that we were after? That scored very highly on this list until Slot came in? Was the likes of a Sangare at Forest, who has really good defensive numbers, the type of guy that they were looking at before Slot came in? If that was the case, how can you only identify one other guy outside of that was every other defensive midfielder on that list except Zubimendi. And then Slot goes, I don't want anyone off that list. So you go, oh, well, okay. I don't believe that was the case. That would be mind-blowingly stupid. So what in the fuck are we doing? I can understand missing out on your top target one season. It happens, especially against Real Madrid. There's not much we can do when we go head-to-head against Real Madrid. Losing out on 2 years in a row, bit shit, especially since it's pretty much your fault that you stopped doing your due diligence on Caicedo. Because you could have had him. I have no doubt if we'd have just stuck it out with Caicedo, we would have pulled it off. But we moved away in January, we came back late on, and Chelsea had 6 months to win him over. 3 seasons in a row, Zubimendi turns us down. I don't hold Zubimendi turning us down on the recruitment staff. I don't. Some people do. I don't. I think that he changed his mind last minute. I can't have a go at any of my recruitment staff for that. They didn't make him change his mind. My gripe and my issue comes with the fact that they are saying that there is no other DM in the market who can give you what Zubimendi gives you. Zubimendi's good. Zubimendi is not the greatest defensive midfielder to ever touch the planet. Arne Slot made a 500 grand DM work at Feyenoord to go win the league. The least you can do is give him a 20 to 30 million quid DM who can rotate. But there is a counter argument to be made to that. Liverpool have kept Tyler Morton. Now, I'm a big fan of Tyler Morton. I think Tyler Morton is a very good footballer. And if you go look at the clubs that were heavily interested in him this summer and put bids in this summer, then that only strengthens the argument. We're talking about Bundesliga champions and invincibles Bayer Leverkusen. We are talking about a team that have been in pot 1 of the Champions League this season because of their continued success in a multitude of competitions in RB Leipzig. We're talking about some very, very good clubs here. Not your Hulls, not your Blackburns. We're talking about clubs that are in the same competition as us that we are going to be competing against in the Champions League. So Tyler Morton's there. We clearly didn't want to keep Tyler Morton. We would have sold him if we got a good offer. But Tyler Morton's here. Is Tyler Morton going to get the opportunity to prove himself? I hope he does. But can we even look at our 6 rotations and say it is a great rotation? I'd say no. I would say no. When you compare the attack, I was doing this yesterday. When you look at Liverpool's attack, you see what is, in my opinion, the best attacking rotation in the league. You've got Diaz and Gakpo for the left. You've got Jota and Nunes up top. And you've got Salah and Chiesa on the right. With Szoboszlai and Elliott as the 10s. If you were to, if each of the top 3 teams in Arsenal, City and Liverpool were to lose their entire first choice attack, what are they doing? This is how I look at it. First choice attacks are all pretty close. I think City's first choice attack has a freak in there. We have a freak in there. Arsenal lack a freak, but their first choice attack is pretty well balanced. But it's when you get to the second stringers. Our second string attack is Gakpo, at the minute anyway. Gakpo, Nunes, Chiesa. Arsenal's is Martinelli, Jesus, Sterling. Good, not better than ours. And City's is Grealish. No idea who up front because they haven't got a backup. And Oscar Bob when he's fit. We have the best attacking depth in the league. I have no doubt about that. So I can only credit the guys who have built this attack up across a number of years for that. Very well done. Defensively, I don't even think our depth is necessarily as bad as it's made out. Left back is a case of opinion. I don't like Kostas Tsimikas. I would have preferred for him to be sold this summer. But considering the fact that it was not seen as a priority position, I can only assume that Arne Slot has looked at the players, because both Robertson and Tsimikas have been there for a lot of pre-season. He's looked at the players and went, Yeah, they are solid. That they can help me out this season. With that being the case, I have to look at our depth at the back. Now, Robertson, Van Dijk, Canate, Trent. I think that is a very solid defence. I think there's arguments to be made that it is the second best defence. It's got the best overall defender in it. There's arguments to be made that it's the second best defence. If you go to all the backups, I think once again you're looking at a situation where you've got City's backups are strong. So let's say they play Akanji, Diaz, Stones, Ake. They can chuck Gvardiol in. They can chuck Kyle Walker in. Actually, don't know who else they've got. They've definitely got one more, but I'm just blanking on it. But theirs is pretty strong in Arsenal's. You're looking at Tomiyasu. You're looking at Kivior. You're looking at Zinchenko. Options there. I look at Arsenal and think it's not as bad as it's made out to be. Midfield is Rico Lewis. Thank you, Adosh. Rico Lewis. That was who I was forgetting. Very, very good player. But again, it's not as bad as being made out to be. Goalkeeper wise, best depth, arguably, in terms of overall quality. Kelleher. It's between us and City. Let's be honest. Midfield is the big one, and then you look at you just compare everyone's six depth. City's is Rodri and Gundogan, two genuine world-class players. Arsenal's is Declan Rice and Thomas Partey, a genuine world-class player and a guy who was for a number of years seen at the very top level. Now seems to be a little bit past it, but can still give you good performances every now and then in Thomas Partey. And you look at us, Gravenberch and Tyler Morton. Gravenberch and Tyler Morton. It's not great, is it? And when you consider how important that sixth position is, to once again go through this season, failing to address it, failing to sort out the position. Just doesn't land for me. Just doesn't land. And I fail to see how Zubimendi's the only guy there. Big ups to my guy, Liam Belson. Need all 3 contracts extended after this stinker. Well, let's talk about the contracts. Contracts should be done in a transfer window and marketed as the successors. I remember the 21-22 season. Everyone lost their minds when that was what was being done. You were getting Van Dijk signed up. You were getting Trent signed up. You were getting Robertson signed up. Who else? Gomez, because he changed his number after the new contract. Henderson got a new deal. So a number of players signed all these contracts, and people lost their minds at the fact that we were doing contracts instead of signings. This is different. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mohamed Salah, and Virgil van Dijk unanimously are 3 best players. Arguably, you had Alisson in there as well. But they're our 3 best players. 3 best outfielders, no doubt, should I say. They have been allowed to run into the last year of their contract. And the last year of their contract has coincided with the biggest change this football club has had in 9 years. We are playing the most dangerous game of chicken you could imagine. Now, I hope these players sign contracts. Based on the start of this season, I think that a lot of these players are fully on board with what Arne Slot's doing. We look very good. Because I am gonna look at it. I am gonna look at the positive view in a minute in terms of why it's not as bad as it all seems. Salah has been probably the best player to start the season. Van Dijk's been brilliant. Trent has been great, bar the little fucking moan that he had. So, looking at that, factoring all of this in, looking at all of this, why have their new contracts not been sorted? Salah is showing no signs of falling off. Van Dijk is showing no signs of falling off. Trent is only improving and improving and improving. You pay these guys what they should be paid. Because if we go into next summer needing to replace one of them, I have no doubt we will fail again. Because I could understand going into a season, next season, needing to address 2 positions, maybe 3. Maybe 3 at a push. But 2 positions. If you lose one of your big 3, all of a sudden it's panic stations because you cannot replace Salah like for like, and you cannot replace Trent like for like, and you cannot replace Virgil van Dijk like for like. So all of a sudden, you need to go from signing 2 players to signing 4 or 5, and it's a real problem. Liverpool can afford to extend all 3 contracts. No doubt in my mind about that. We just need to do it. We just need to do it. And then you give them 3-year deal. You give Van Dijk another 3 years. You give Salah another 3 years. You tie Trent down for another 5-6 years. And you know what you do during them 3 years? You know what you do during them 3 years? What you do is sit there and identify the replacements for these players. That is what you do. You sit there and you identify the replacement for these players whilst you have these players still at the football club. That is smart business. That is what smart business people do. You don't wait for them to go, panic, look at everyone going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and then shit the bed again. You look at it and you fix the issue whilst they're there. Now, I actually believe that all 3 will sign a contract. I do. I believe that we will sign all 3 down to a new deal. I think Van Dijk is the captain, doesn't want to leave, or he wouldn't want to leave. You know, you don't want to lose your captain, especially going through the change that we're going through right now. It doesn't line up. Salah genuinely loves this football club, which is a very rare fucking commodity nowadays. But Salah has genuine love for this football club. And he is still the best attacker in the league. And I have no doubt that he will sign a contract. Trent is the worry, but I believe that this season will showcase to Trent that Arne Slot will give him the platform and the circumstances to continue to compete at the very top level of football, which is what he wants. Therefore, I believe he will sign a new deal. If all 3 of them players sign new contracts within the near future, all of a sudden, it's looking more positive because you've got your spine sorted. You've got your spine sorted for at least 3 years, and you can start the long-term process of identifying the replacement and identifying the future of those positions. We cannot shit the bed and do it all in one window because we will fuck it up. We will 100% fuck it up. But we want a positive spin. How can this be spun in a positive way? How can this window be looked at positively? How can someone still be positive after seeing this transfer window? I can still be I am quietly not happy. I'm not happy with the window because we've once again missed out on the top target. But this is not a case of me sitting here now and going, Liverpool are fucked. Liverpool aren't going to do anything. Liverpool are going to fall off a cliff. We're going to finish outside the top 4. I think Liverpool can 100% minimum do exactly what we done last season. But I believe there will be slight improvements. Do you want to know why? Because we have a top manager. We have a top manager who has identified the weaknesses we had in our system last season and is changing them. We've made the first 2 games. There were no signings made, absolutely no signings made. And I'm gonna swap out Ipswich for Luton, and we are gonna look at Brentford. We drew away at Luton last season, 1-1. We turned it into an end-to-end game, and we couldn't win. And dropping 2 points there was a real blow for the team. We went away to Ipswich this season. Good side, high pressing, high octane, decent, attacking, this, that, and the other. Comfortable 2-0 win. Bar a couple of counter-attacks off corners, we did not look worried. We did not look exposed. We did not look like we were going to lose that game. Moving on to Brentford. We actually had a decent season against Brentford last season, but for a number of years under Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool struggled against Brentford. Play them at Anfield in their armour slot, look so controlled, look so composed, look so relaxed. The game's played at a slow tempo and Liverpool cruised to a 2-0 win. We look a lot less exposed defensively. We still look as decisive and incisive as we do in attack. And the midfield now has a proper structure to where we are not going to be constantly putting a poor DM in positions where he has to defend 3-on-1s, 2-on-1s, this, that, and the other, where he's going to be exposed. And this is not just 2 games. This was happening in pre-season as well. Now, how much you want to wait pre-season is up to you. Pre-season is good for showing a style of play. You can clearly see that our style of play and our setup is built to be more structured, to be more controlled, to be less rock and roll and more smooth jazz. And so far, it has worked. It has worked really well. How many points is a strong structure that saves legs? Because as well, having games killed off by the 70th minute allows you to do what Arne Slot did against Brentford, which is take off your best players. Take off your best players. Rest them. Our problem last year was we lost too many players to injury. We lost too many key players to injury, and that meant a lot of players had to play a lot of football, and ultimately it culminated in 2 shitstorms hitting at the same time and 1 massive nuke of a shitstorm hitting our season at the back end of it. We've got a guy in now in Arne Slot, and this isn't really about Arne Slot. We've got a guy in called Ruben Peters, who for all intents and purposes is a miracle worker when it comes to injury prevention and load management. If he's as good as he said, or even if he's 50% as good as he said, all of a sudden we hopefully don't have points in a season where we are without 11 senior players. Great stuff. Yes, brilliant. Therefore, games that potentially went wrong last season go right. Because we've got a lot of depth. We've got a lot of quality depth. We've got a squad that isn't blowing out their arse at the back end of the season because they've controlled a number of games. Games being played at a slow tempo. Games have been boring. A lot of games have been boring this season. We go away to Bologna. It's a boring game. We play Girona at home. It's a boring game. Leicester come to Anfield. It's a boring game. We go to St. Mary's. It's a boring game. Liverpool get the wins, but they're boring games. They're boring shit games. Players don't do this, that, blah, 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 blah. It's just a boring 2-0 win. But the load on the legs is minimal. So it gets to the end of the season, or it gets to the crunch time, and our players are still ready, fit, fire, and energetic. How many extra points is that worth a season? Now, this is all my view on it. I do believe that Liverpool, based on what I've seen so far from the system, have made a net improvement based off of last season. The squad hasn't gotten worse. The squad has made a minor improvement in adding Federico Chiesa. So we've made a minor improvement squad-wise. But we have made a major improvement in system and structure. In system and structure, we've made a massive improvement. And that can be worth a lot of points in a season. I am very much all in on Arne Slot. I am liking pretty much everything that man has done whilst at the football club. I have not got a bad word to say about Arne Slot's time at the football club so far. I love the way we're playing. I love the structure that we've got. I love the fact that all the players are on board with it. It's brilliant. It's exactly what you want to see when a new manager comes in after replacing such a historical and legacy-defining figure as Jurgen Klopp. Do I believe Liverpool are going to win the league this season? No. I don't. I don't believe that the squad is just there yet. It's not there. That's fine. That's fine. This season is about consolidation, if not improvements, and building the foundations for the next what's it called? The next 5 to 10 years of football at Liverpool under Arne Slot. This is big. This is big. Did that man deserve to be back? Yes. He should have been back. He should have got that. He should have got that 60 he wanted. If he makes it work and Liverpool achieve, let's say Liverpool go and win the Champions League this year. Unlikely. But let's say Liverpool get the luck of the draw with certain cases. Certain teams have collapses when they, weren't expected to. And all of a sudden, Liverpool win the Champions League. Liverpool will have done that in spite of the recruitment team, not because of it. That's as it stands. Who knows what happens in January? We could go into January and Zubimendi could throw his toys out the pram in Sociedad because they're not performing well. They're out of whatever European competition they're in, and all of a sudden the move opens up again, and we are the 6th in January, and that changes a lot of the case at the football club, and a lot of views change at the football club. But I am quietly confident that we are going to improve based off the last season. I'm quietly confident. There is certain things that I've seen that just impress me. They impress me. Again, it comes down. I can go off what I've seen. He definitely wanted the DM, and I do agree with you that Zubimendi can't have been the only guy in world football that was fit for the position. But for all intents and purposes, apparently his centre back wasn't looked at as a priority. It was an attacker and a 6. Do I believe that? Who knows with this PR? I very much doubt it. But I'm going off what has been reported and what's been said. So, rating this transfer window out of 10. 4. You get a 4. You added in decent depth in the attack. You sold well. I can't lie. We sold very well. We've made a lot of money off of fringe players. A lot of money off fringe players. Van den Berg, Fabio Carvalho, Bobby Clark. We've made a lot of money this summer, which is a positive. But on the incomings wise, we have left Arne Slot short again. We've left Arne Slot short. We left Jurgen Klopp short for a lot of years. He left himself short for some of the years, and ultimately, we fucked up in the one big position that we needed. So, all in all, we've made a profit. So, woo, yeah, we were the profit guys. Yeah, get in there. Profit FC, Sustainability FC, this, that, and the other. But it's an overall disappointing window. I can't lie. It's underwhelming and disappointing. And Arne Slot has a big task on his hands now without a 6. Now, he believes in Gravenberch, which is brilliant. He believes in Tyler Morton, which is brilliant. Brilliant. All for it. I'm not going to jump on Arne Slot's back if this doesn't work. I'm not. If this season it's just about finishing 3rd again, I'm not going to jump on his back. I can't question it because he's been left out to dry in a key position. That the whole spiel this summer was that Arne Slot is going to use preseason to identify the weakness in the squad. He identified the weakness in the squad and we couldn't fix it. he's had to find an in-house solution. So credit to Arne Slot for that so far. But he can rightly feel disappointed by the recruitment staff who have let him down there, because there is no way on this planet that Martin Zubimendi was the only 6. If someone can showcase me, if someone can tell me, if someone can give me statistical proof that Zubimendi was the only guy who worked, then I will change my view. But until, I just don't believe that was the case. So, people, I'm going to leave it there. People. Thank you all very much for watching. If you're new and not already, make sure you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button, you're turning on notification bell so you don't miss any more content. Love yous, leave yous, in a bit. Ta-ra. Up the Brighton, up the West Ham, up the fucking Reds.